It's kind of basic mathematics. The more we know who we are and how we got here, the more we can mobilize.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, everybody? We're going to scoot over a little bit so you can get a little bit more room. It's Thursday, so you know what that means.
Brother Empowerment Day.
Yes, so if this is your first time watching, Brother Empowerment is a show that's designed to help brothers to break through without breaking. This is not one of those bashing shows, but this is an opportunity to uplift brothers, you know, through conversation and their families, and hope that maybe something that we're saying will leave a positive impact that may lead to a behavioral change that will overall impact their community, impact their communities, and so on. So if this is your first time watching, we definitely thank you. Everyone in YouTube world, Facebook world, Instagram world, we definitely thank all of you guys. We do have not necessarily a guest, because they are part of this family. But before we allow this gentleman to introduce himself once more, bro, how was your week?
My week was very action-packed and interesting. So I think I did talk about it last week. You know, my good sister Lynette and her family moving here. So they're here. So it's helping them transition for their move. So that was pretty cool and very, you know, I had a couple things to do there. So outside of that, it's really just been, you know, really just been pretty chill. Been working out, of course, on my own, and also my man Keon, or Devontae Ragland, as he is, his name is up here. But yeah, man, it's been a real action-packed week. That's really I can say. Really what I can say. Been going. I'm finally slowing down. Actually, yesterday and today, you know, it's been a really, you know, I've been on the downslope, so it's a good thing. So, how about you, bro?
It's been interesting.
Yeah.
Because we have actually been busy at Love is a Parable, because looking back, we expanded our implicit bias workshop, for those who don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so because we expanded our implicit bias workshop, we actually just completed one with Wake County, one on race relations, but we also offered a free one for the community on career readiness. But we also did one with Benedict College as well. So we have been extremely busy, and that's an opportunity where we tell people the best way to stay in touch with us is really to go to loveisaparable.com happenings. That's the only way to know exactly what we have going on, guys. And that's the best way to stay engaged with us the entire time. So go to loveisaparable.com/happenings. That will give you an opportunity to really see what we're doing and how we're moving forward in that direction. But also realizing that we are a love-focused organization. We're focusing on what connects us. We are a charitable and educational 501c3 organization, and we provide holistically educational opportunities that literally bring people together, help communities flourish, and businesses to thrive. It's our approach and methodology that makes us so different. So we encourage you to really go to loveisaparable.com and check out our educational services. Whether it's the love advocacy training, the implicit bias workshop that consists of 4 different kinds. We got our junior advocate program, and then our voter education, along with small business marketing support. So you definitely want to check us out, get connected, get engaged, because that's the best way to make sure that you know all of the things that Love is a Parable has to offer. So now we gotta introduce our special guest.
Our guest that's not a guest,
but still special.
You're right.
Our brother. Well, tell the people who you are, and then I'll come back in and do the other part. Tell the people who you are, Mr. Teens Have a Voice 2.
Hello, world. My name is Ian Parks, founder of Teens Have a Voice 2. Also got a nonprofit. It's called After School Special, working with high school teenagers. one of the things that we specialize in. We love creating opportunities for teens, but creating them through their eyes. So for example, you know, if we had a teenager that was interested in law, we like to show them all the aspects of law, because a lot of teenagers think if you get a law degree that all you can do is work in the courtroom, but they don't realize you can work for a nonprofit or a tech company or even the city. So that's some of the amazing things that we're doing at After School Special. So if anybody want to check us out, please do.
Okay, that was so modest. I love when you're modest. I love when you're so modest. But Ian is actually one of the collaborators of Brother Empowerment. So you do see him in the beginning of the video because he has made a huge impact. And I can even tell you, Cordell and I met Ian at the same time. We met at a gender bias workshop or women equality workshop. And we were across the room from each other and we connected there, not knowing that we were going to start Brother Empowerment. We had no idea because we started Brother Empowerment and then we started our first cookout and you worked with the kids there. So you've been with us just as long. I think we started Brother Empowerment, maybe a month or two before we met him. Maybe. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure, but Ian has been with us from the very beginning. And he, along with Kerwin, are a part of Brother Empowerment. They are the ones who help influence a lot of the things that we do, but they have successful organizations and businesses that pull them away so they can't dedicate full time, but they are here. Yep. So anytime that you're on, you know, I like to let people know who you are. And I appreciate all the things that you're doing. And he's also helping us lead the Junior Advocate Program. It is truly a partnership with Teens Have a Voice Too and Love is a Parable, but he's actually helping lead our Junior Advocate Program along with our girls. So we thank you for all of the things that you're doing behind the scenes. And I'm just glad to get you on the show and brag on you.
For real, man. Dope brother, man.
So you want to tell all the people who we got on?
Let's see who we have right now. All the people I see. We got Misha on. Hey, Misha.
Hey, Miss Misha.
We got Sis on. Hey, Lita Garnett, aka Miss Lovers of Parable, Mrs. Lovers of Parable. Let's see. We got Ricky is on. Ricky Fields. What's up, Ricky?
Hey, Ricky.
Bruce Leroy's on. What's up, Bruce? We got Wally is on. What's up, Wally? Rashia is on. Hey, Rashia.
Hey, Rashia.
We got Jack Wilkers is on. Hey, what's up, Jack? Let's see. Who else we got? Samantha Mills. Hey, Samantha.
Hey, what's up? Hey, Miss Garnett, amazing job you're doing. Thank you. I miss y'all. I can't wait to see y'all again.
We got Deshaun is on. What's up, Deshaun, bro? And we got Rick on. What's up, Rick, man? We have someone from YouTube. We have Ismordina.
Well, he said hi jogger, so that he had to be talking to y'all, one of y'all. Because this big guy don't move on these knees. Y'all know who ones that be running.
We got we got Adrian just popped on. What's up, Adrian?
I was about to tag her. I was about to say, where's Adrian?
So yeah.
So we talked about everything that we've been doing. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about the presidential election. The vice president debate, that happened. But guys, we put in the topic for you so that you can see who the actual presidential candidates are. We have 4. So I definitely want you to know who those individuals are, because we are going to talk about the importance of voting a little bit later. Mm-hmm. But for right now, we're going to get into the first topic. So Ian, you ready to discuss some things with us?
Oh, you already know I am.
Okay. Well, this is spillover from last week, as well as some of the newer topics this week. So from last week, the question or the topic was, let's talk about gender traits versus hurt people traits. Mm-hmm. Most people are making them about gender when it's really individual hurt and making group assumptions.
So yeah, that would have been something I would have been like, elaborate, please. But I'm
about to say, how much more you want them to elaborate?
But really, what that speaks to me is, especially on Facebook and stuff like that, where people say, why do women do this, or why do men do such and such? Mm-hmm. That's what that sounds like to me. And it definitely is. You know, of course, here at Love's Prayer, we don't believe in absolutes, and we don't, you know, paint with broad brushes like that. So, I mean, I never really like those kind of statements, those kind of posts, because it doesn't leave any room for any kind of discussion or any kind of real understanding or coming to a common ground. It's an absolute, and it's a wrong one too, because there's very few things, if anything, you can say that anyone does, aside from breathe and maybe, you know, I don't know, eat food. You know, like there's not many things you can say that everybody does. So to say all men do this, especially when it comes, you know, talking about from a negative standpoint, or all women do this, you're automatically, to me, speaking from a disadvantage or a skewed vantage point, because it doesn't make sense. Because from a statistical and logical standpoint, it don't make sense, because you can't verify that data. You can't verify that.
You cannot verify that data.
So, and then from a, you know, from a conversational or emotional standpoint, that really just says out before you even get to explain it, that just says, this has happened to me, so I'm just gonna say that everybody does it. That's what it says to me.
There's so many different ways that this could go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's levels to it as well too, but I don't understand why, especially when people are upset, they generalize it. Like, you know, just hypothetically speaking, I'm not calling out the ladies or nothing, but you know, you got some women out there who, if they got through a rough patch with a guy and they in that relationship, they'll say all men are this or all men are that.
Yeah.
And that's what I tend to happen when people just get mad. And I don't understand why they just generalize it like that. Yeah. Especially when they might have, at least at the bare minimum, men in a family that don't even fall in that category, but yet you'll still say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, man.
That's actually real good, man.
That's the got 'em right there.
Yeah, my whole thing is that I think a lot of people don't even know that they are hurt. So they can't even identify the trait, because you have some people who are doing this quote unquote empowerment movement. But the empowerment movement is based off of trauma. It's not based off of excelling and helping. You have some women I know who are pushing the separatist agenda, just like you have some men I also know who are pushing the separatist agenda, where they're really going for gender inequality, but they're doing it under the guise of gender empowerment.
Right.
And it's not really happening. And it's sickening to see, because they come across as healthy and whole and complete. And I see a lot of people being manipulated into giving these individuals money, and they're really sowing into hurt. So that's what a lot of times what I see, and it's very disappointing to see those things, witness those things, experience those things, but you can't tell them nothing because they think they're healed and haven't even went to get a checkup yet.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You have folks who been through something and they act like that is, you know, that's I guess a formula for knowing things about life. Like, no, you've been through something, but that's not an entry into a manual for handling certain things in life or dealing with a certain gender. No, you just been through some stuff with one or a few people, and that's what that is. Your experience with one or a few people.
Right. You barely made it out. You just made it out.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's it.
We don't need you to write a book about it. You just made it out.
Yeah. That is not, you know, academic anything. That is strictly anecdotal and personal data.
Yeah.
That's only, you know, that, if you want to share it, cool. But that's not something that people should go take as a guideline for life. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people also got to know that that's why healing is important as well. Because, I mean, we all got something that we battling with at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But it's all about really just having that self-awareness to acknowledge it and just trying to put it into action just to fix it.
Right.
And that's something that a lot of us, we definitely got to help others fix, because, like that generalization, I mean, personally, I hate it.
Yeah. So, it really stifles conversation, and it accelerates the breakdown of communication. Like, who wants to go into a conversation with someone who's like, all men or all women do this right off the bat? I mean, to me, that's just a red flag that you're not really wanting to engage in conversation to hear someone else's viewpoint or open to anything else, you've already made up your mind coming into the conversation. And that's cool. I'm just gonna go this way though.
Yeah, because you can't reason with those people.
Yeah.
At that point. Because they got their mind made up, like you said.
Yeah. And that's one thing that you can't even really do. Let's see. Misha said, before anyone decides to move on to another relationship, need to heal from the past. To me, it leads to vulnerability. Ooh, I'm glad you fixed it, because I was gonna say that's the wrong heels, boo. That was the wrong heels. We can tell what you be just be wearing heels all the time. Yeah, but I think to that point, a lot of people don't know when they're truly healing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. They think that just because I've accepted something has happened to me, I'm over it. Mm-hmm. Or they think because I've acknowledged something, I'm dealing with it, and none of those things have happened yet.
Right.
And so many people jump out there very quickly. And it's like, I was just telling a couple that's going through the session with Love is a Parable, is that me and my wife have been together 13 years. Mm-hmm. We just had an argument Friday, and we just learned new things about each other. Mm-hmm. So you never truly fully learn a person, because a person is constantly uncovering. Mm-hmm. And so if a person is constantly uncovering, it's not for you to say, okay, first of all, we're fluid. People are constantly changing. People are constantly growing. People are constantly adapting. People are constantly moving. That's what we do. So sometimes the beauty is knowing that a person is moving, not trying to typecast them and assume you know everything about them. That's no fun to know everything about a person. The beauty is learning that. And I think that the same thing applies to us. When things happen to us, it forces us to re-examine how well we truly know ourselves. And then we try to move accordingly. Mm-hmm. But a lot of us are protecting a reputation that a lot of us ain't holding ourselves to but ourselves. I just want to throw that out there.
Man, that was a whole lot.
Yeah, that was heavy.
I just say. So the next one is, and you probably can lead on this one too, is what about, how do we talk to our children? This comes up a lot about being, about police in 2020, but also how do we talk more specifically about Black children being Black and the police in 2020?
Oh, wow, man. I think we got to start by the digging into the history first, because, you know, with this generation, I feel like we got to connect a lot of dots that were never connected for us.
Okay.
Because honestly, if I think about the conversation that I had, especially with my dad about the police, it was just really just follow everything they say.
Yeah.
And, you know, even if you do that, it still might end up going left.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's definitely a tough conversation to have, especially if you're a person of color right now. But I would just talk about starting from the historical context of policing, and then also just talk to the kids about how they can make some change. Because what I'm finding from a youth perspective, a lot of kids do think about this stuff, and a lot of them are scared, and a lot of them want to do help and influence some change, but they don't know what to do. So one thing I've been trying to encourage, like some of the teens that are really worried about this problem, is why don't you guys just go take a trip up to the, you know, your nearest police station, and why don't you talk to a couple of officers? Because, you know, it's hard to hurt somebody you got a connection with in that aspect.
Well, what do you think about the young, it's just the guy that, what was his name? It was an activist in the community. I forgot what his name is, but he was big on thinking that there wasn't an issue.
Oh, Jonathan Price.
Jonathan Price. Big on thinking that there wasn't an issue because of his lifestyle. And unfortunately, he was taken by the very lifestyle he was trying to defend. Did you hear about that?
Only bits and pieces, but not in detail, though.
Yeah, that came up where it was a young man who was doing great things in the community, didn't speak bad. He actually was pro-Trump. He was pro Blue Lives Matter type thing and saying, you know, we really got to deal with the inner workings of the intra-racial issues before we deal with the interracial issues. And while helping a young lady, he was trying to explain to the cops what was happening, and he was shot and killed.
Yeah. He was involved in helping a young lady who was being assaulted. It was a domestic dispute. And I guess the police officer who came, or officers who came, thought that the two guys were fighting. So he ended up getting tased. And while he was convulsing from being tased, he was, I guess, deemed a threat and was shot multiple times and killed. So, and he died on the scene.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just, yeah. And he was like bro said, he was pro police. I've never had a bad experience with the police. I know good, you know, white families have always treated me like a son. You know, we need to clean up our own backyard, keep our nose clean, the whole nine.
Yeah.
The whole nine.
So how do you talk to kids when these type of situations happen? So we can take out, we can take out the Breonna Taylor, we can take out the George Floyd, but now you have individuals who are fully advocating for the counter, and their lives are taken. So how do we explain to our youth these type of dynamics in America?
That's a tough one, because it's almost like, the gentleman was playing the other side of the fence.
Right.
Which is, you know, a side that we don't hear about in a lot of these stories. And he still ended up losing his life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one, because it's almost like you damned if you do or damned if you don't.
Yep. Ricky said, Black people have been having these conversations with their kids. It's time for white parents to start having the conversations with their children in the same way. Let's make allies for our children while we work on this police issue. I do think that, to that point, thank you, Ricky, for that. I do think that it's a conversation that we need to have, but I think that I'm exhausted as a Black person having the twofold conversation. Mm-hmm. It's almost like going to school, you had to learn the different types of history. Mm-hmm. This is their history, but this is the true history, and this is our history. It's like, it's too much that go on a lot of times, and it's sad that we have to, and it's sad that we have adults who don't understand that we can fight multiple things at one time. Mm-hmm. We can say racism exists. We can say racism and inequalities exist in law enforcement. But we also can say, even though these things happen, that doesn't mean all the officers in law enforcement are crooked. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So this all or nothing type mindset is exhausting, and it's even more, it's devastating that we have to constantly explain that to children who are trying to understand the concept of world. And it's not even duality. We talk about duality a lot, but it's not. It's so multifaceted and complicated that we got to have these complicated conversations just for survival, not education.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of this stuff, you know, stems from, you know, institutions, man, that's been, you know, controlling things from literally day one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kevin said white people don't have to talk to their kids because they're not getting shot. Brooke.
Hey, Brooke.
Brooke, which you're going to meet, is one of our collaborators too, and corporate advocates. Brooke said we should institute some type of reform. Mm-hmm. You know, the only problem I have with reforms, like, you know how the old sayings go, like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Mm-hmm. But how you gonna reform something that's broke?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, no, we gotta throw it away. Yeah. We need a reconstruction.
That's one of the reasons why, that's one of the reasons why there's quite a few activists talking about, you know, defund the police and stuff like that. And, you know, that's the standpoint they're talking about, not change, because the system was built on tainted ground anyway. So it's got to be rebuilt. And that's what defund the police is all about, is taking the money out of it and putting it in other places, and also massive restructuring of the law enforcement system. It's not talking about just not paying anybody or, anything like that, or just not having a police force. It's talking about rebuilding it and putting resources elsewhere, like community policing. So it's.
But I would pose this question too: is it really broke? Because the system's working. Who it was intended to work for?
Now that's the point too. That's the
yeah.
point. The people who built it are like, hey, what's the problem? It's
And that's my point.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say we need to reconstruct that whole thing.
Yeah.
And Ricky said, very true, but my white friends talk to their kids about the issue that my kids have to deal with and give them instructions on how to support, such as don't leave your black friends alone with the police.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
She said defund is not good enough. Reform is necessary, but defunding is a type of reform.
Yeah, and as I just said, defund doesn't mean exactly what you think it means. It's broader than that. That's just the term or the hashtag that's used. There's also a lot more that goes into that than just taking the money out.
Yeah, the system is not in favor of the black or brown people unless you have white connections. You know what? I get that, and that is the sad part is that's very true.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But what I have been finding out, which frustrates me, is that there are some people who feel like that's absolute, though.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people who won't. When I say some people, because I've been dealing with this, there are some people who won't support organizations unless they see a white connection attached. And I feel that that's dangerous. Because you can't say you're for black businesses, but you only for black businesses that have a white connection.
Mm-hmm.
That is happening a lot more, and it is happening by some people that you would expect to have a different lens because they're leading like inclusive initiatives or even saying partnering and stuff like this. There are some people who are still telling us to whitewash the truth just so we can get white connections, and I feel like that is contributing to part of the damage.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Whitewashing, dumbing down, saying we got to have that. And it's sad because most black organizations, Love is Parable is no exemption to that. But when you get a white connection, all of a sudden we're validated as an organization. But let's be honest, I went to a HBCU to get my degree. And then I went to a PWI, but I earned my degrees. My wife earned her degrees. Cordell earned his degrees. Kirsten earned her degrees. We all earned what we did that validate what we do.
Yeah.
Not a white connection, because a white connection didn't give us our degrees. Us paying and doing what we needed to do gave us our connection. So when you come to some people and then you say things out the side of the neck that, oh, such and such happened, that's a huge problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's sad that some people feel that way, that the only, and I'm not saying that's what Brooke is saying, the only people who feel like a business is validated is when it has a white connection.
Yeah. And let's not forget that a lot of times that don't save you from a personal standpoint.
She said she know the difference, and she Gail.
Oh, okay. Hey, well, excuse me then. No,
she said, I know the difference.
Okay.
And she said, I keep my white connections. It is what it is. I support my own. Then she put period down here. You know what? You have these uneducated, angry, mostly whites that are given the power to be the judge and jury.
Yeah, to be, it's been stated a bunch of times that since, to jump back on law enforcement for a second, you don't have to actually have a lot of credentials to be a police officer. Like you go to like 6 months of training. It doesn't require a degree or anything. Not saying that makes or breaks a person, but like a lot of other jobs, it doesn't, the screening process doesn't involve having a college degree to be a police officer. It's one of the last professions left in this country where you can get in with the most basic of education and training. And that's something, and you can literally take a life. You have a gun, you have a taser, you have authority. And that's scary. That's scary.
Yeah. I didn't learn that till recently.
Yeah.
I honestly, I never knew the criteria, but it doesn't shock me because I went to the military fresh out of high school. Mm-hmm. So it really doesn't shock me because the military is pretty much the same way. You do your training you know, depending on what type of job you're in. But, you know, you can't get in without a high school education at the end of the day. And then they teaching you to, you know, shoot guns from like day one.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just really scary. But and even in the military, though, there's certain rules of engagement that you have to follow, correct?
Yes, most definitely.
And, you know, it seems that police officers, I'm sure they have them, but it seems that they're allowed to kind of skate around them at certain points, or they use technicalities to really rationalize, you know, using lethal force in situations where a little bit of de-escalation probably would have helped and or spare a life or two.
Yeah, and people got to also realize that each state is different and each county is different.
Yeah. And
depending on what type of law enforcement officer they are, all of that plays a role. And the sad part is, for us to be, and I say this, for us to be the United States of America, you would think that there would be certain things that would be uniform across the states, and it's not.
Right.
For our armed forces, we do have services in place for them. But the sad part is we don't have the same healthcare benefits for officers, meaning that there isn't a whole section that's dedicated to the healthcare of officers. And I think that that needs to be there. Like, I do think that a mental assessment needs to be done, especially for those who go through traumatic experiences, especially if it's their first time being introduced to certain things. I'll be the first to say I'm not a full fan of community policing, only because community policing is based off of districts. So what if I live in a different district that I want to give back to the community that I came from?
Right.
I may be exempt from that. So there are certain things that I think need to be in place to kind of help. And we don't have those same places. I think police officers should be treated as the military is treated. And I think certain services should be provided. And I think that there needs to be certain assessments done after certain events take place.
Right.
If you were in an armed robbery, if you shot somebody, if you were shot at, if you got into a fight, I think that different assessments need to be done, and people are not doing those assessments. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. I'll tell y'all something that's not talked about enough too. Police officers definitely need help, but there's actually a lot of police officers who commit suicide. Like, the numbers are like staggering. And I can just imagine how, you know, just because of the current climate we're in, how some of these good police officers are feeling right now.
Yeah. Well, I think about how, unfortunately, some of the Black good police officers are feeling.
Yeah.
So some people were echoing what you were saying. I think they should add a psychiatric evaluation and tests that reveal their biases in order to get into law enforcement. I like it a lot too. Ricky said the military actually gets prosecuted if they break the rules of engagement, but police officers don't. I agree. Brooke said it's messy. And then we got Nathaniel on. He was going to come on and help, but he moving around his office. So I don't know how he going to get feedback and move around a whole office.
Sure. That's how he get on. We're going to be doing Positive Brother shout out.
Right. Let's talk about this, balancing joy and rage in today's climate. So everything that's going on, balancing the joy and rage. How do you find basically peace in the middle of the storm?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things that I think Black people have had to battle and balance since they've been in this country, especially, you know, well, no, I'm just saying, period. How to balance that, I know for myself, there's certain points where I disconnect from the influx of information. That's social media, that's the internet completely. You know, there's certain times where I just disconnect from it all, just because if you don't stop the influx of information, you'll constantly be bombarded with it. That's the gift and the curse of the age we live in. Is if you open yourself up to information, it's going to come at you, no matter if you want it to or not, because it's always going to be there. No matter if you're on just scrolling your social media, if you're looking at your news on your phone, if you're looking at, you know, whatever, listening to, you know, music or the commercials or whatever, it's always going to be there. So for me, I unplug sometimes, and that could be just, you know, just being in my space or going to see someone or going to work out or whatever. But also I just make sure that I'm maintaining my personal mental and emotional equilibrium. I make sure that I'm on center. And sometimes that, like I said, I unplug, but also that sometimes is taking stories or taking information piece by piece and deciphering it or writing about it and really just moving on after that. So there's a bunch of things you can do, but I think it's a constant act. It's not, I don't think there's one thing to do or that works is different for different people. But I think it's something that's always going to be present, just because of the way that this country is and how it was built. It's something that we're going to be constantly doing until there's major change. But yeah, that's a great one. It's difficult. It's hard. I don't know anybody who has an easy time with that. Me personally.
Yeah. Tara just got on. She said, "Hey, bro."
What's up, Tara?
Nichelle Lee Green is late.
Hey, Shell.
Adorned by Petty. And then Miss Joy said, "I agree. Find disconnect. Find positive outlets to release anger, rage, etc.
Yeah.
Watch motivational speakers on YouTube, like Love is a Parable."
Oh, like the brother we had on last week. I forget his name. It's gonna be him.
Oh, Tim?
Yes, Tim.
No,
Bowers.
I was going through like
Tim
last week. You know what happened between?
Yeah, Tim Bowers. There we go.
Yeah. Malika
Hey, Malika.
says, finding joy is Black people's superpower. We would have perished generations ago without it.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yes, that's a generational survival skill tactic that we have passed down from generation to generation. It's one of the reasons why when people die or some tragic happens, there's always some jokes.
Soul search. Rashia said, find your happy place. It can be mental or a physical place. Drown out negative by flooding yourself and your souls with positive things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The whole government, I did.
You spit it out there too.
I did. And then we got Mr. Nathaniel J. Brown up in this piece. We can't see him, but he gonna say something. Why he got the climate shot photo?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
You know we gonna pick on.
Yeah, my bad, man. My bad. Can you guys hear me okay?
Huh? Yeah, we can hear you.
Good.
What's
up, man? No, it seemed like you were asking me to kind of lead into the question a little bit. So the question was what? How do you find peace in the middle of the storm?
Joy and rage in today's climate.
Gotcha.
First of all, you got to tell people who you are. You can't just bust up in here with a picture and nobody know who you are.
Look, I'll sit for a second to introduce myself, and then I'll get back to moving about. All right, can everybody see me?
Yeah, we can see you, bro.
So then
okay.
With the main.
Go ahead.
So yeah, my name is Nathaniel Brown. I am a personal trainer and lifestyle coach. I like to consider myself a perspective coach. I help people shift their narratives, whether it's a story, a belief system, a paradigm, any type of observation, anything you're participating in this universe with that's attracting things to you. I help to see that differently. So I simply just allow you to see the truth from the variables so that you know what you want, you know what you believe, and you know you have a choice. So that's basic introduction of who I am and what I'm about.
Yeah, it's going to be some projects that Mr. Nathaniel and Love is a Parable are going to be working on together. Guys, he's big on energy shifting. We met Mr. Nathaniel because of Mr. Teen Have a Voice Too.
Yep,
so
sure did.
He made that introduction. He made it like over a year ago. It's like, this guy is dope. You need to meet him. And it took me about a year and a half to be like, guy, you are dope. We need to talk.
Yeah.
We will be seeing this space, guys. Find him, follow him. You're on YouTube as Piercing Reality, right?
Piercing Reality. Yeah, I just started a YouTube channel called Piercing Reality. I haven't done much with it because I've been helping my wife here with the production of.
You done a lot with it.
Yeah, I did plenty with it. It's just I haven't put any more of the things that I have.
Yeah, what they got is what you did was good enough. Y'all go watch the video, and then when you catch up, he'll have some more ready for you.
Yeah.
I will try to find a link and put it in the comments for you guys. But yeah, you can go ahead and answer the question while I'm looking for it for you.
Yeah, so like my I think again, my thing is perspective. So the idea of wanting to balance it is a very efforting idea. Okay. You trying to balance something usually means something else gets robbed. There's
Mhm.
usually a taking away from one thing in order to add it here, sort of the proverbial rob Peter to pay Paul sort of scenario. So there's actually no such thing, and I'm going to tear up some people's paradigms here, as
Mhm.
you balancing these things. What you are, when you start experiencing them, they are the balance. In
Mhm.
some way, shape, form, or fashion, each emotional outlet, each emotional experience that you're having is coming to show you where you are not in balance. So the
Yeah.
balance takes place automatically because it's ingrained in the fabric of the universe to bring everything to homeostasis. So when you are experiencing joy or rage or anger in any way, shape, form, or fashion, recognize that that experience is there for you and it's actually emanating from you. So you're not actually getting access to these experiences that's external to who you are. They're mirroring where you are energetically, and they're there to show you, hey, this is where you are. You're at the space of joy, so keep this one up. And when you find yourself at anger, be willing to fully experience the moment because the event came to you because you asked for it. It
Mhm.
doesn't come to you any other way. Be willing to fully exchange in the moment, however that anger starts to progress in your body, whatever you need to do, and channel that through all the way. Fully engage in the experience because life is about living through exchange. And when you make the exchange, you'll find that it wasn't anything you had to do. The event came to be experienced by you. It's not something you should throw away. It's something you should embrace. So if something angers you, the question is, why am I angry and what am I afraid of acknowledging that
Mhm.
keeps this scenario angering me? If something comes to you that brings you rage, if you get into the point where you're enraged, it's because you didn't listen at the moment of anger. Because all rage is a step forward into the negative self-talk and the internal dialogue that sends you spinning. And then when you're at joy, again, ask the question, what energetically have I created inertia wise to create this event, to bring this event to the head? Now I'll say one more thing and I'll turn it over. We create the reality we live in. Here's how. The word for create in the Hebrew text is bara. It simply means it's two parent root words. It's bait and resh. The bait is it's ancient grift here. It's just a blueprint of a house. The
Mhm.
resh is the head of a human. So when you take the bait and the resh together, you get the blueprint coming to a head. That's what creation is. Now, the older version of the word create is the word ba and ra. It's from the Sumerian cuneiform text. And what it means is that you extract necessary elements to extract out of something. You create a moment of differentiation, and then Ra means to impress into clay. So you are creating your reality because you are extracting things energetically, and then you're imprinting them on the environment you're in. So your rage, your joy, and your anger are of your energetic creation. So the balance is in the questioning on why the event came to you in the first place. I hope that helps.
Man, I feel like I need to be taking some notes, man.
And I feel like, man, what a textbook. I need to circle that whole.
That is why I love this dude. I told you, I love you. You know, I was keeping it all up.
Yeah.
It's so many things that I want to say, but I'm not going to get in a whole hour and 30-minute conversation because I'm on your own anyway, let alone have a conversation about it. So, yes, I look forward to what. Hold on, wait a minute. Tara said, that's what I said. She been trying to tell y'all, but y'all don't listen. Ricky said, I think people mistake joy for happiness. Happiness is based on what is happening currently. Joy is much deeper. You can have
Right.
joy within sadness and rage. You can't forget your purpose. I feel like he preached a little bit. Harold said, good information. I provided y'all Nathaniel's information, so make sure you get on YouTube and subscribe and look at those videos that he has there already. I also provided his Instagram handle. I'm gonna do your Facebook in a second. But when you started, I felt like it needed my undivided attention. And you know how I am. I'll be like, call me after this over. We got something to talk. Look, Rashid talking about right. But yes, I think that, and I'll tell you, for me, with everything that's going on, I'm sorry, guys, I just see an opportunity for Love is a Parable, because while people are sitting there saying, well, we don't need love right now, we need blah, 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 blah. Don't assume you know what we're talking about. And I guarantee you'll realize how much love that we really need. When you understand what we're talking about, the assumption of that you know what we're talking about is adding to the deterioration of our communities. This is why we constantly are going through these same things, is because we assume we know something that we have never made our acquaintance to. And so I challenge you, just like I challenge myself, every time I see something that comes out there, like Kamala Harris said, that we need implicit bias workshops. Love is a Parable offers implicit bias workshops. So if you say that you are an advocate for what she is saying, you might need to get into an implicit bias workshop, because your own biases may be causing you not to understand or how to get the fruitfulness out of these rageful situations. And so other people who are even on the other side, even Pence said he understands the importance of these workshops. You guys need to take advantage of what we even are offering, because a lot of the things that are happening is we are in the way. We can blame all day long, shift blame, but a lot of the things is just us because we think we know. Do you have a podcast? Yes, he do.
Okay. Not quite yet. I'm working on that, though.
It's on pause, but he got one.
I'm working on that.
He coming, y'all. Keep motivating the brother. I'll say this. Let me take this moment. Creatives as a whole struggle a lot with their gifts. Creatives as a whole, we have these conversations. Ian and I have these conversations. Brother and I have these conversations. Nathaniel and I have already had these conversations. Most creatives, because of the way that we think and the way that we process and disseminate information, we assume that we're alone. And we're not. This is why we having the same issues like Nichelle ain't wrote that book yet or did that album yet. Joy ain't wrote that book yet. Joy ain't put that album out yet. Ricky ain't wrote his. I mean, the list can go on and on. Rashid, she did get her LLC. So that's one part. But there's so much that's going on with creatives that sometimes we feel isolated because we don't have people to share. So when you see people that are coming on that is bringing a different ingredient to the spice of humanity, we have to make sure that we're pouring into one another, because this may be the first time people are stepping out even to say some of their innermost thoughts. And so many of us are struggling with isolation of gifts that we rather not even talk about our gifts or expose our gifts because we just want some level of connection. So we definitely got to get to that place where we really corral behind and support. So a lot of people ask me all the time, how did Love is a Parable backing get so strong? It's because we found a lot of creatives that felt alone and we became family. And to tell you, Ian was doing everything. Ian was running almost a $500,000 project by himself because he didn't think that anybody can help him. But guess what? Now he has a family and we help him. Nathaniel doing his own thing. He got 11 subscribers right there on YouTube, but he put it out there. He just put it out there. So he should at least be by 100 by the night. Just 100 subscribers so that can help. Instagram, follow him and support. There's so many creatives that are out here that really are the remedy. Here's the thing though. We don't invest in the remedy. We invest in the problem. These creators were created to be remedies and to be solutions to problems, and we don't invest in the solutions. We invest in the problems. We spend all of our energy talking on so many things. We can skip to it. A lot of people want us to talk about the debate last night. the vice presidential debate. But I'm gonna tell you that I'm disappointed in that debate, just like I was disappointed in the first debate, because I am upset that we have a higher standard of professionalism for people in lower positions than those who have the highest ranking position, period.
Mm-hmm.
So it's frustrating that we will have a standard of excellence for every other category. You will expect the standard of excellence out of a bagger at Walmart, but don't expect the same excellence out of the presidential candidates.
Mm-hmm.
We would tell people to explore their options and educate. You will get a second opinion on a doctor, but you won't get a second opinion on your presidential candidate. The way that we're doing things, we constantly invest in problems, and that gets old. When you got solutions and remedies out there that you guys are not really investing in. How many people focused on the fly?
Mm-hmm.
How many people focused on Kamala shaking her head, making those faces, made memes about it, and all that? All that was funny. But nobody is really talking about the problem and how they're going to fix the solution. Nobody. Because we are constantly invested in problems. We're not invested in solutions. That's why stuff like this will only go so far. But guess what? We're expanding our reach because we're doing something different. We're finding solutions. Lovers of Parable want to do their job so good that we out of business.
Right.
People are working together and we don't need Lovers of Parable no more. But a lot of people you connecting to, they ain't trying to fix nothing. They want problems to keep on going. That junk get old. Let me see what these people say about these books. Well, we got to get it done. I told you.
Job's not finished.
It's hard out here in these creative streets.
Yeah.
I done made the list. I'm writing. Somebody kick her out of this whole group. Okay, we got time for one more discussion topic.
Yeah.
Oh, did y'all want to say anything about that vice presidential debate? Y'all got anything?
I didn't watch it.
I didn't watch it, but you hit it on the head because I heard more about that fly than I did the whole debate. And I think I came across, I don't know what social media platform it was on, but somebody created a social page for the fly. The fly had like 30,000 followers.
Yeah. I mean, but bro, just
What
you know,
does that mean?
the lack of professionalism in the highest offices in the land. You know what I mean? President, president and vice president. You got them up there throwing shade like it's an episode or another rendition of Mean Girl or something like that.
President.
You know, it's just, you know, like, man, like bro said, you expect that kind of, you expect the highest and the utmost professionalism from anybody at our jobs. We're expected to have we're expected to bring the most professionalism every single day and at every occasion. But you have the president and his rival, or the person running against him, up there basically looking like grumpy old men, the movie. And they're on television. You know, this is a national debate, and they're up there like it's comedy hour.
And we're losing. Talking about who won the debate. We all lost. We continue to lose.
Yeah.
And we continue to lose, and I'm gonna keep on saying it. We continue to lose as long as we don't educate ourselves and empower until we realize that we are a republic and not a democracy.
Yeah.
Things will not get any better. We have to get to that point where we educate ourselves on what options we truly have, and we're not really trying to do it.
Yeah.
The questions were not getting answered. The fly was 2020. It was become expected.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And it's crazy, bro, because, you know, you talk about we're a republic, and the national anthem literally says it has that we're a republic in it. But you have people who are quote unquote patriots who still say we're a democracy, it's a democratic nation, this and that. But the national anthem literally says, and to the republic for which it stands.
Yeah. So
I'll add something to this very briefly. It's
So he never.
I think
right.
James Earl Jones.
I feel like we need to just put him on here. You're like
so you know, I think the issue really is, the expectation level is it's a very interesting expectation level because the media is what controls the overall expectation level. We get what's being mirrored to us as far as leadership, vice presidency, and presidency. It has become my sort of extraction out of all things historical up to the present time that you get the leader that you deserve at the moment. Okay. And it's hard to hear that, especially for all cultures. You mean tell me Trump is the one we deserve? Yeah, because you let the media control the narrative. For so long, the media has been telling the story, and they have been telling the news, and the word news comes from a French word, which is nouvelle, which means to tell a story. So they've been controlling everybody through entertainment. Now, the word entertainment means it's three words, entertain and ment. It means to go within and detain the mind. So we have been trapped in this quarrel, this created quarrel, being funded by both sides of the equation. Don't even get me started on George Soros and his funding of the Antifa movement. And he has funded the white supremacist movement as well as Black Lives Matter. His money is on both sides. He is busing people into locations and paying them to protest, riot, and dismantle communities. So the media is controlling this because most people don't even know who George Soros is or have ever even studied enough to know that we are living in a time where it's a repeated process of history. If you study the history of the Democratic nation or the Democratic Party or the history of democracy in this 13 original colonies, you'll find that they thwarted every last assessment, every last push for equality in this country. So much so that they created what's called the Slave Task Force, commonly known today as your local police department. And then they also created this other supremacist movement called the Ku Klux Klan. They are the creation of the Democratic Party. Through the news and the media, because they control it all, they were telling people, hey, you vote Democratic and we won't enslave your people anymore, or you vote this and we won't do this. And then they were hiding in booths, threatening people to fit the narrative. So the key for us as Black men, Black women, white men, white women, I don't care what color you are because it doesn't matter to me. I don't give a crap about all that nonsense. We're human beings. We have bleeding hearts. And I guarantee you, if a white man had a heart that matched yours and you were in need of a transplant, you'd take it because it was available, because it's human nature. We are human first before we are hues of color. Okay? So let's get that out there. Now, the issue with the political arena is that there isn't any truth being told. We've just been sold a bill of goods to say, hey, this is what we got. And the more you judge what you see, the more what you see judges your back. So all of this pointing the fingers at the leadership, it's good to recognize, but as we stay in the space of pointing the finger to say this one is that and this one is that, then the question we should be asking is, why is that triggering me? Because you can't be triggered by what's not there in you. I will leave that there.
Wow.
You dropped the bar.
Wow.
Shut up, Tara. Let me see. Malika said, I describe it as selling vitamins in a world invested in pain relievers. Symptom maintenance instead of digging into the root. Tara said, the fact that two parties only make the debate stage is a huge problem. How is that? There's more than two. Jay likes Nathaniel because he's a wordsmith giant. Okay, I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed. But guys, we're at that point where we got to do positive brother shout out. Okay, Nathaniel, this is your first time on, but this is where we highlight brothers who normally don't get an opportunity to be recognized for the positive things that they are doing, rather in their community and or homes. So we're going to go with Ian first, and then we'll go to Nathaniel, and then we'll end it. Yep. So Ian, go on and do your positive brother shout out.
All right, I got to start out with me, man. So,
Last week, Tim
Uh-huh.
was the second one to shout himself out.
Yep.
Did
He
he?
was the first in history, but he was the second one.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna have to meet Tim then. But I definitely gotta start out with me because, man, I've been grinding. I'm telling you, Jay, I've been grinding. So I can't wait for the world to see what I've been doing and stuff. And I also got to shout out one of my good friends, Dr. Daryl Glover. He's an optometrist. He's doing something real big, man. He did this event on Tuesday, I believe. It was called Impact HBCU. And he started this movement called the Black Eye Care Perspective, where they are strategically trying to get more Black youth into the optometry industry.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't realize that's part of healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I definitely got to shout him out. And shoot, I would just say, outside of you brothers that's online right now and the people that's watching the show, anybody else who's just doing positive stuff in the community. So that's it for me.
Oh man,
I love you, Ian, man. They think it's on you, brother.
I'm gonna take a page out of Ian's book and shout myself out first. I I'm shouting myself out, sort of saying that in a way of patting myself on the back, just to love myself in the moment, and being courageous enough to speak up when it's probably my opinion and my perspective is not going to be the very popular one, because it will call many people to the table and call everybody's paradigms to the carpet. But that's okay. It's what I'm here for. I'm literally purposed to kind of shatter the cultural codes. So I just sort of break the molds in that way. Definitely want to shout my man Ian out, because this introduction of this little panel here wouldn't have happened without Ian anyway. Sitting in living kitchen, ordering some food, haphazardly doing a little bit of work, and I ran into Ian, and it was like, oh man, we should connect, and we hit it off several times really well. Like, we just kind of keep up with each other every 4 or 5, 6 months or so. We kind of connect, sit down, chat. So I really appreciate that, and definitely appreciate you for having me on. Love is a Parable has been a entity I've been watching for a little while now, and it's good to be able to be a part, to find a space where I don't have to be like everyone else. I can be totally individual and authentic, and that is completely okay. So I shout out everybody on the panel and along with myself.
Yeah, bro.
Definitely.
I can't wait to announce the projects that we're doing together. I can't wait. Y'all, this year is going to be fire. We got some things cooking, man.
Definitely in our James Harden bag. Except we winning. James Harden was losing. No straight to James. Team game. But we're not James Harden bag. We cooking. So I would definitely first and foremost, bad. First and foremost, shout out to Brother Jay, for real, man, because each and every week, we're here each and every week, but it's never the same. It's always a different experience. No matter what we're going through in our personal lives, we still get up here, and really, man, brings a lot of joy to both of us. So, and I just wouldn't be here doing this without the bro. So I definitely got to shout out my brother, for real. And we've had a lot of transitions, together over these past 2 years doing brother empowerment. A lot of transitions.
The last 3 months.
Yeah. So, hella transitions. So definitely shout out to my brother Jay. Shout out to Ian, of course, and Nathaniel. Y'all are 2 very dope brothers, man. And listening to Nathaniel speak, I feel like I'm listening to like a James Earl Jones 2.0. You know what I mean? That's what I feel like I'm listening to. But nah, you both are definitely profound brothers, for real. And so I definitely shout out to y'all. And I shout out to all the brothers that were on the live tonight. Ricky, Rick, Deshaun, all the brothers that were on the live tonight. And I definitely shout out, Uncle Marcus, and shout out Keon. Those are 2 very instrumental and very, very pivotal brothers in my life. and I love them to life. And they, you know, they represent a lot of things for me. You know, they represent courage and dedication and just, you know, growth. You know what I mean? Keon, he tortures me during the workouts because he's basically took the super soldier formula at 8 years old. So he's just, you know, he just doesn't get tired, you know, but he's a very dope brother. I'm glad that he is coming on doing stuff with us because the community needs people like him as well. So, and also my last thing is I want to shout out that and then they tell people. No, we gotta wait, man.
What kind of unofficial official drop was that?
Anyways, Keon, aka Devontae Ragged, is doing, like Nathaniel's doing some big things with Love Comparable and Brother Empowerment, and we're gonna be dropping that stuff soon too.
There you go. Good job.
Man. So my last thing, man, is I definitely, like I've done this past 2 weeks in a row. I want to shout out to the brothers out there, one, who are doing things in their community and don't necessarily get the proper recognition, but also aren't looking for recognition. They're doing things in their community because one, that's what they found their purpose, and two, that's what they're being the change they want to be, and they're doing it because they know that's what's right, and that's how you make change, by making the next generation better and putting them on a place where they're able to make change themselves. And also, I want to shout out the brothers who are really doing the hard things and really having the tough conversations and coming into their own and not taking the easy way out and just ignoring things, but just making the proper connections and having those tough conversations that promote healing. So that's all I got.
Well, definitely. I'll only be echoing what you said, bro. Thank you for, like I say every time, thank you for being here. Yeah. Thank you for doing this. But I have to give a shout out to JB for cutting my hair.
Shout out JB. Shout out JB. That brother is dope with the Clippers. That brother dope with the Clippers.
And Rashad.
And Rashad too.
We got some big things happening with that too. I can't wait, guys. This year it's just been dope for us. But
you gonna stop like you didn't
really, Nathaniel?
Oh,
did you just stroke your whole mane doing my? Everybody got distracted.
No, I'm sorry. Like I was literally untangling my hair out of my. That's it. I was just it got caught behind my shirt, and I was getting it out, and I'm sorry. I wasn't expecting. I do this all the time. I'm in my office by myself. So I do this all the time. I don't expect anybody to call that out.
You little simple-haired people. You see my locks? Oh my God. Yeah. But yeah, brothers, thank y'all. And you know I missed you, man. I'm glad to see you. We haven't been talking that much for the last 2.5 weeks. So I'm glad to see you. I love the things that you're doing. I love the fact that you are my brother. Kerwin, who can't be on. I appreciate him. Ricky, we're gonna do a partnership with him as well. You know what I'm saying? Shut up, Ricky. Ricky, we're gonna be doing some things with him as well. So it's a lot of projects. We got like 4 major projects, 5 major projects that are coming out of All Love is a Parable that's all gonna drop this year. So I'm so excited about the things that are happening and the partnerships that we're developing, but most importantly, the impact that we're making. So all of you brothers, thank y'all. He already named him. Nathaniel, thank you for being on. I can't wait till they truly get to experience you, because you're gonna have a time where it's gonna be all about you to shine. So yes, I appreciate you for coming on and making time for us today while you stroked your mane and changed the office around at the same time and dropped a lot of words. Like fort, which is one of my favorite words. A lot of people don't use it, but I thank you for using it. Ian, thank you for making a connection. Yeah. I already talked about Ricky, my brothers, Daryl, Vincent, Rodney. Oh, today is my brother Vincent's birthday and my little brother little Tony's birthday.
Shout out to those brothers.
So happy birthday to my brothers, my cousin Jiffy. Happy birthday to all of you guys. But my brothers Tremel, Mike, Andre, Jacob, Brian, all of y'all, thank y'all. I love you guys. My cousins who are doing major things, I appreciate all of you all. Steven, Deshaun, thank you for being on, and all you other fellas who are on tonight. I appreciate everything that you're doing. But like we tell people, every week, if you feel that you are alone and you feel that nobody else in this world loves you, you just met 4 people who truly do, who are really here for you. Okay? Connect with us at lovesaparable.com. We put Nathaniel information in at the bottom, and next week. Nathaniel, stay on, Ian, stay on. But guys, we'll see y'all next week.